So you're Ip Man? So you're the best fighter in China. Okay, let's deal. Seems to me that your Wing Chun fist is the fastest. Let's see who fists are the fastest. Yours or mine?
The story opens with Bruce Lee approaching Ip Man to request his mentorship. Ip Man, skeptical, questions why he should teach Bruce. In response, Bruce confidently claims it is due to his speed. To test him, Ip Man throws a few cigarettes at Bruce, who swiftly kicks them all away. Ip Man escalates the challenge by tossing a glass of water for Bruce to kick, which he accomplishes effortlessly. Without uttering a word, Ip Man then walks to the door, opens it, and allows Bruce to leave. At school, a confrontation arises between Ching and Fong, necessitating intervention from an adult to defuse the situation. Their parents are called to pick them up. Wing Sing, Ip Man's wife, inquires about the altercation from the teacher, learning that it stemmed from a debate over whose fighting style is superior. Ip Man arrives, apologizing for his lateness, while Fong's father is preoccupied with work. In a gesture of reconciliation, they invite Fong to join them for dinner. Later, Fong's father, Tin Chi, arrives to collect him and expresses his apologies for the disruption caused. The following day, as Tin Chi waits to pick up Ching from school, he encounters Ip Man and suggests a friendly sparring match. Ip Man replies that they will spar when the time is appropriate. After collecting Ching, Ip Man witnesses a group of thugs entering the principal's office. These thugs, led by Ma King Sang, instill fear in the staff and intimidate the principal into selling the property to them. When the principal refuses, King Sang violently assaults him, slamming his head onto the table and smashing his hand against it. Fortunately, Ip Man intervenes, swiftly incapacitating one of the thugs. While restraining King Sang, he calls the police. However, the thugs take a teacher hostage to facilitate their escape. Despite his efforts, Ip Man is forced to let them flee. That night, Ip Man and his disciples stand guard at the school in anticipation of further trouble from the thugs. Just as they begin to believe it is safe to leave, the thugs forcibly break the lock and storm into the school premises armed with gasoline and poles. Outnumbered, the defenders struggle to fend off the attackers as they reach the classroom and ignite a fire while also attempting to seize the principal. Witnessing this, Ip Man springs into action and pursues the assailants. Overwhelmed and outmatched, the thugs retreat in fear, unable to contend with the combined forces of Ip Man and Tin Chi. Although Ip Man and his disciples receive accolades for their bravery, Tin Chi's contributions go unrecognized. The following day, King Sang's former master learns of his involvement in the school's arson and, fueled by anger, joins Ip Man in confronting King Sang at the shipyards. The master expresses deep disappointment in King Sang for misusing his martial arts skills for malicious purposes. Despite no longer being under his tutelage, the master's concern for King Sang's dishonorable actions reflects poorly on their martial arts tradition. King Sang arrives with his men, prompting the master to urge him to cease his theatrics and abandon his plans regarding the school. He reveals that King Sang's supposed allies are merely mercenaries motivated solely by money. Enraged but restrained by respect for his former master, King Sang refrains from striking him. However, the master delivers a slap across King Sang's face in front of his men. Humiliated, King Sang attempts to retaliate with a knife, but Ip Man intervenes just in time to block his attack. As tensions escalate, one of King Sang's henchmen signals for reinforcements, causing more people at the shipyard to converge on the scene. Fortunately, police arrive shortly thereafter to quell the disturbance. Later that evening, Tin Chi participates in a fight at an underground club where he effortlessly defeats his opponent. Following this victory, King Sang approaches Tin Chi with a monetary offer to deal with his former master. Initially hesitant, Tin Chi declines Sang's offer, but Sang insists that he can never fight effectively unless he complies. After rethinking his situation, Tin Chi reluctantly accepts the money. The following day, disguised with abandoned masks, he infiltrates Sang's former master's umbrella shop. As Ip Man prepares to leave home, his wife inquires if he will be home for dinner, expressing her concern for him. He reassures her that he will return early and asks if everything is alright. She begins to confide in him about her worries but is interrupted by the ringing phone, which he promptly answers. Meanwhile, she grapples with her fear of potentially having cancer but hesitates to burden him any further. On the other end of the line, a call from the hospital informs Ip Man of the master's severe injuries and his desire to meet. However, it turns out to be Kang orchestrating the call through the nurse. While Ip Man is preoccupied at the hospital, Sang and his gang seize the opportunity to infiltrate the school and abduct several children. Despite one of Ip Man's disciples attempting to intervene, fear overwhelms him, leaving him unable to act. Sang issues an ultimatum, demanding that the principal be brought to the shipyard or else the children will be sold into slavery. Upon returning to the school, Ip Man learns that not only has his own son been kidnapped, but Tin Chi's son has also been taken. Enraged, Ip Man storms into the shipyard wielding an enormous bamboo stick. He demands that Sang release the kidnapped children, asserting that they are innocent in this matter. Sang, holding Ip Man's son captive, forces him to drop the stick and threatens harm to his son if he does not comply. To further humiliate Ip Man, Sang orders him to kneel and bow before him. At this moment, Tin Chi arrives, seeking the release of his own son. Unbeknownst to Sang, one of the abducted children is Tin Chi's boy. As Tin Chi leaves with his son, he casts a sympathetic glance at Ip Man but is dismissed by Sang, who orders him to mind his own business. Sang then calls forth his men and engages in combat with Ip Man, promising to inflict a corresponding number of hits on Ip Man's son for every blow Ip Man lands on them. Unable to retaliate, Ip Man can only evade their attacks. Meanwhile, Tin Chi returns to the shipyard, prompting Sang to question his presence. Ignoring Sang's demand, Tin Chi leaps into action. Just as tensions reach a climax, police arrive to apprehend the criminals. Unfortunately, in the ensuing confusion, they mistakenly arrest Ten Chi, believing him to be part of Zhang's crew. Ip Man and his son return home to find his wife overwhelmed with frustration. She slaps him before collapsing into tears on his shoulder. Amidst her sobs, she reveals her grim prognosis. She may have less than 6 months to live due to cancer. As Ip Man and his wife ride the elevator home from the hospital, their moment of respite is shattered when a Muay Thai assassin steps into the confined space. Ip Man's instincts kick in. He senses danger as the assassin begins to remove his sandals, a clear sign of intent. Just as the elevator doors close, the assassin strikes, launching a swift attack. The assassin, realizing he is outmatched, retreats at the command of Ip Man. Once the situation is under control, Ip Man confronts Frankie at his residence, demanding answers about his intentions. Frankie, a formidable opponent with a reputation for ruthlessness, proposes a challenge. If Ip Man can withstand 3 minutes against him in combat, he will cease his pursuit of the school. When the time expires, Frankie, impressed by Ip Man's resilience and fighting spirit, concedes defeat and allows him to leave without further threats. Meanwhile, Ten Chi, inspired by his encounters and driven by ambition, finally gathers enough resources to establish his own Wing Chun school. Eager to make a name for himself, he challenges other masters at a local tea house, defeating them one by one in a thrilling display of skill and technique. With news reporters present to cover his victories, Ten Chi strategically orchestrates the events to maximize visibility for his new school. With his reputation on the rise, Ten Chi boldly issues a challenge to Ip Man for the title of Grandmaster of Wing Chun. The anticipation builds as Ip Man and his wife arrive at Ten Chi's school for the highly anticipated match. The atmosphere is electric with excitement and tension.
我不是败不知耻的人。
其实最重要的，应该是你身边的人。
However, amidst the backdrop of this martial arts rivalry, tragedy strikes. Ip Man's wife succumbs to her battle with cancer, leaving him heartbroken and devastated. In the aftermath of her passing, he reflects on the profound lesson learned through loss, that nothing is more important than cherishing moments with loved ones. The story concludes with Ip Man contemplating his journey and the weight of his responsibilities as a father and martial artist, ultimately reaffirming his commitment to honor his wife's memory by nurturing their family and legacy. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.